Japan, a country that usually avoids wars, has surprised everyone with some big news. They're teaming up with other countries, not just their old buddy the United States, to make a super cool stealth fighter jet. This new airplane could change how wars happen around the world, especially as problems between different areas get worse. Japan wants to be ready for whatever comes next in the world. This new alliance Japan joined is a big deal because it's all about making a super powerful airplane that can sneak around without being seen. Think of it like a ninja plane. And there's something called Godzilla FX involved too, which sounds super awesome. All of this means that the way countries fight each other might change a lot. So, why is this a big deal? Well, as tensions and problems between different parts of the world get worse, Japan wants to be ready to protect itself. This decision to boost their defense abilities is a big step, and it shows that Japan is getting ready for whatever happens in our changing world. They want to be strong and smart, so they can stay safe and help keep the world peaceful. Japan-US alliance. After World War II, Japan didn't want to build up its military, especially its air force, because they remembered how terrible war was. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were like scary ghost stories, reminding everyone about the horrors of war. The United States helped Japan make a rule in its constitution that said they wouldn't have a big military for attacking other countries, only for protecting themselves. Japan also became buddies with the United States, which meant American soldiers and planes stayed in Japan to help keep it safe. This was great for Japan because it could focus on getting better after the war. Japan's neighbors, like China and South Korea, sometimes didn't trust Japan because of history and politics. Japan didn't want to seem aggressive, so they were careful about building a strong military. But now, China is getting really powerful and isn't playing nice with Japan. They're using cyber tricks and spying to steal secrets and even attacking Japanese computer networks. China is also sending more ships and planes close to Japan. The birth of the I-3 fighter. With all this happening, Japan realized it needed to make its airplanes better and not rely too much on other countries. They wanted to buy some cool American planes called the F-22 Raptor, but the US said no. So Japan decided to build its own super-duper planes. It's been a tough journey, but if they succeed, Japan will have amazing warplanes and be a big deal in the weapon world. Around 2009 and 2010, Japan's defense ministry started studying how to make a super cool airplane. They called it the I-3 fighter, which stands for Informed Instant Intelligent. This plane will have super fancy radar, stealth technology, and a really strong engine. They even made a test plane called the Mitsubishi X2 Shinshin to try out these ideas. It's a bit like the F-22 Raptor and is about 14 meters long with a 9-meter wingspan. It's not too heavy, just 13 tons, and it has an engine that can do amazing things in the sky. The X2 also has something cool called flyby optics, which makes it hard to be seen on radar. It was a success, and Japan will use its ideas for their next-gen planes. The X2 looks sleek with its wings and tails, and it can do cool tricks in the air. It has special landing gear, and its design makes it fly smoothly and be hard to spot. Japan is really serious about making its own awesome planes, and it looks like they're on the right track. Mitsubishi FX. In 2020, Japan's defense ministry started working on a new super stealth fighter called the Mitsubishi FX. They want it to be even bigger than the F-22, and people are calling it Godzilla because of its size. This big size means it can fly really far and carry a lot of weapons. It's all about being super connected and carrying more missiles than the F-35. They've been testing different designs on computers to make it fast, nimble, and hard to see. The FX fighter will have two powerful engines that can produce more than 20 tons of thrust. These engines are special because they can move in different directions to help the plane do cool tricks and stay hidden. For finding and fighting other stealthy planes, the FX will have high-tech sensors like radar, radio detectors, and infrared cameras. It will use a special technology called gallium nitride to be really good at finding stealthy targets. It can even jam radio signals to stop incoming missiles. But that's not all. The FX will have a cool helmet display for the pilot with a wide view, multi-colors, and even speech recognition. It's super stealthy too, with tricks like special air channels and materials that make it hard to see on radar. It can even create bursts of plasma to block radio waves. Plus, it's not just about fighting with regular weapons. It can also use a microwave cannon to mess up incoming missiles. And it can send out little drone buddies to help spot targets and protect against missiles. The FX fighter is like something from the future. Replacing the F-2 jets. If the FX Godzilla lives up to even part of its potential, it could give Japan an incredibly strong warplane that's better than anything flying in the sky today. This would not only make Japan's military really strong, but also put them on the map as a big player in the global weapons market. Japan has a chance to become a top-notch manufacturer of military equipment. Another important thing the FX Godzilla will do is replace Japan's current F-2 jets. These F-2s are a crucial part of Japan's Air Self-Defense Force, JSDF. The story behind the F-2 development is pretty interesting. The JSDF calls it a 4/5 fighter, which means it's a bit different from regular fighters like the F-16. The F-2's main job is not just air-to-air combat, it's also about anti-ship attacks, ground attacks, close air support, and defending against threats in the air. Japan started thinking about a new support fighter back in 1977. They needed something better than their old planes like the F-86F and the Mitsubishi F1. So they gave the green light in 1982 to develop a new support fighter. This new plane had to be really advanced with electronic warfare skills and good air-to-air combat abilities. They wanted it to carry 4 anti-ship missiles and an air-to-air missile while being able to fly pretty far. Mitsubishi and Kawasaki, 2 Japanese aircraft companies, started working on their own planes. Mitsubishi was confident because of their past experience and started on the JF-210. Kawasaki designed something that looked like the FA-18 Hornet, but wasn't sure about its air-to-air abilities. As they worked on these planes, things got confusing with changing requirements and designs, and it started to cost a lot. In the end, Japan realized that making their own support fighter was too expensive. Buying from other countries wasn't an option either because there weren't any planes that fit their needs. So they decided to team up with others to develop a more affordable plane together. The birth of the F-2 fighter. In 1986, American companies General Dynamics and McDonnell Douglas suggested working together on a new fighter plane project. General Dynamics used the F-16 as a base for their proposal, while McDonnell Douglas looked at the FA-18. European companies also had ideas, focusing on the Tornado, but their offers didn't meet Japan's expectations for technology sharing and cooperation. So in 1987, the Tornado was taken out of the running. Japan chose the improved F-16 as the foundation for their new fighter. This decision came with some challenges. In the early 1980s, the United States wanted to strengthen the military capabilities of its allies, so the U.S. Department of Defense supported Japan's fighter program and technology sharing. However, the U.S. Department of Commerce had a different view. They were concerned about trade imbalances and wanted Japan to buy U.S.-made weapons instead. They also worried that Japanese aviation companies might become competitors and share sensitive information with other countries like the Soviet Union. In 1988, the US and Japan agreed to work together on the fighter program, but it took another year of discussions to finalize the details. In 1989, the US Congress approved the agreement, but with some conditions. These conditions included limits on sharing certain F-16 technology, ensuring that U.S. companies played a big role in production, and Japan sharing important technology with the U.S. The F-2 fighter was made through a partnership between Japan and the U.S., with a 60-40 split in manufacturing. Mitsubishi was the main contractor in Japan, and other Japanese companies like Kawasaki and Fuji were subcontractors. The engines were made under license by IHI in the U.S. General Dynamics was a major player in the program, and later, Lockheed Martin took over the aircraft production facility in Fort Worth in 1993. The F-2 made its first flight in 1995, but there were some small issues during testing, like tiny cracks in the wings that caused delays. After fixing these problems, the F-2 officially joined the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force in 2000. While it might look similar to the F-16, the F-2 has some important differences. It's a bit longer, and its wings are bigger, allowing it to carry larger weapons and be more maneuverable. Tempest Program. Mitsubishi made some important changes to the F-2 fighter to make it even better. They redesigned the vertical stabilizer to make it work well when launching anti-ship missiles. They also made the air intake bigger to fit a special radar called the JAPG-1, which was developed in Japan. This radar was super advanced and made the F-2 the first fighter with an active electronically scanned array radar, giving it awesome abilities for ground attacks and stopping ships. Mitsubishi used some high-tech materials in making the F-2. Parts like the horizontal tail fin, wings, rudder, and landing gear doors were made from strong carbon fiber materials. The rear part of the plane and the tail were made from tough titanium. They even used special radar-absorbing material for the nose to make it harder for radar to detect. The F-2 was great for low-flying missions over land and sea. It was a bit like the U.S. Air Force's F-16, but had some differences. For example, it had a 3-part cockpit canopy that was better at resisting bird strikes. The Japanese did get some inspiration and ideas from the U.S., and they even bought some F-35s to use alongside their FX Godzilla once it's ready. Speaking of FX Godzilla, there are exciting developments with the next-generation fighter. The UK and Italy are teaming up with Japan to work on this project. They have been making good progress with UK companies like BAE Systems, Leonardo UK, MBDA UK, and Rolls-Royce, along with the UK Ministry of Defence, working together since 2018 on what they call the Tempest Project. This project is all about developing high-tech combat air systems for the future. The UK and Japan will also collaborate on sensors that will make future fighter planes better at watching and understanding what's happening around them. Japan has been helping Rolls-Royce with a special system that makes the new British warplane more powerful and efficient. They are also working on sensors to detect threats from the air, land, and sea quickly and accurately. This partnership is a big deal and shows how countries are working together to create the next generation of awesome fighter planes. It's all about using the best technology and skills from different places to make planes that can keep us safe in the future. Speed and collaboration. The Tempest project is shaping up to be a major leap in fighter plane technology. They plan to use 3D printing for manufacturing, and the first flight is expected in 2035. This new plane will replace the Eurofighter Typhoon in Italy and the UK, as well as the Saab Gripen in Sweden. Leonardo is already working on a special radar system for the Tempest. This radar is super advanced and uses lots of small antennas and receivers to collect data from the sky and ground, just like other sixth-generation aircraft. The Tempest will also use artificial intelligence for controlling drones, following the loyal wingman idea. Its cockpit will have augmented reality technology, making it a very high-tech project. Speed and cooperation with other countries are crucial for the Tempest project. They want to stay competitive with China and Russia, who are also working on their next-generation fighters. It's not clear how this partnership might affect Japan's Godzilla FX project, especially since Japan is helping the UK and Italy with the Tempest. Some people think these three countries might eventually team up to create a completely new aircraft that combines the strengths of their fighter jets. The United States plans to support Japan's security and defense cooperation with its allies and partners. If there's a threat to Taiwan, it might be tough for Japan to defend its southwestern tip, and China could tighten its control over Japan's important trade routes. This could also create more tension around the disputed Senkaku Islands and put pressure on Japan to prevent any aggression from its old rival, China. Japan needs a united effort to prevent any such invasion and deal with the threats from North Korea. It might be surprising to some, but international cooperation in defense is becoming more and more important in our world today.